All right, cool. Here we go. So we going over game of the day, Breinfuel game of the day over here from Brooks Chandler versus Sean Beavers. Now, shout out to Brooks Chandler for sending this game in, as he was a big fan of the stream. We saw him at the K-12 Grade Nationals 2021. So the ratings here, check this out, is white 1392, which is Brooks Chandler, and black Elo is 1698. So this is from the past K-12 K-12 grade championships nationals 2021 in Orlando, Florida. I was just over there this past weekend. So but white, a little bit about Brooks is actually higher rated online. I think he said he was like 1900, maybe a little bit lower. Of course, he's gonna be in the comments here, so you guys can check him out and ask him. But here 1392 in the game, and he actually had this twice. There's another game we're going to talk about later too. But this is a pretty cool game. We're going to talk about some a few key points here. But let's get into it. E4, C5, knight f3, knight c6, and then here we go right here. We got d3. Going King's Indian attack style. Also, maybe sometimes you can be going into a slower type of closed Sicilian way, but most likely going into King's Indian attack, which is the reverse of King's Indian defense. So d6, knight b to d2, and then g6, the g6 version. Usually in the King's Indian attack, you have a lot of the bishop g2, castle, queen, king side, right knight. You do this stuff. Like you're literally going for mate every single game, playing e5. But when they do it this way, it is a little bit stranger, and you don't get the same attacks off, but you still have a good game. You can play it very flexible, like how he plays in this game with g3, bishop g7, bishop g2, knight f6. This is all good. Everything is easy to play, castle, even this knight. I think this knight's misplaced, actually. I think it actually goes to e7. For people playing from the black side of this, I think if you ever play this from the black side, usually you'll have what they call the Botvinnik setup, like e5. Magnus is a fan of this from the black side. You can literally do this from every way. And it kind of looks like this. You got breaks, you got f5, h6 when you need to, bishop e6. Like you can develop quickly, play queen d7, a6, b5. Like it's a flexible setup. And this is called the Botvinnik system of setting up. But you can do that a lot against the King's Indian attack, have good positions. On both sides, equal play. Bishop g2, knight f6 is kind of misplacing the knight. But castles, bishop d7, developing. White plays c3, defending, doing everything it needs to do. c3 defends the square. Play queen c2 sometimes. This is still King's Indian attack territory. Nothing's really going on. Literally nothing's going on, right? Every opening has that same aspect of get the pieces out. And the King's Indian attack is one opening that is very easy to play. Get the pieces just like this. C3, pawn structures like this. Do this. Queen go to E2. Sometimes you go knight C4. Sometimes. C3, E6 from black. Knight C4 is what he plays. He hits this. You could go this route, Queen E2. Right? The difference here, this is not the same King's Indian attack that you're used to, right? E5, H4, because it's not the same. So it's not going to work the same. So I don't recommend you go for it. What he did here is I like this approach of knight to c4. Now knight, you got to remember here, always play the board, not the rating of who you're playing, right? White is 1392 here. So Brooks Chandler is 1392. Playing his opponent is 1698. Now he is higher rated online. Brooks is, but this is over the board. This is over the board here. And this is for USCF. So yeah, he's the lower rated player, but I'm going to play him just like how I play anyone. So knight c4 hitting the d6 pawn. We want to play a little bit aggressive here, and then queen c7 defending. Now, this is a pretty cool move here. Let's see if you guys can find it. Chat, what would you play in this position? It's white to move here. And let's see if you're strong enough to find this move that Brooks played. That's actually move number 2 on the engine, even though he's 1392, quotation marks. White to move. What do you put? What do you do in this position? Where are we playing? A lot of moves, obviously. There's a cool one too as well. I think number 1 is pretty awesome. I see bishop e3, e5. Interesting. E5, bishop g5, e5. I see bishop e3. Okay. Bishop f4, bishop f4, a4. That's nice. That's King's Indian for real. From the black side, playing like a5 if it's a Petrosian variation, for instance. Pretty nice. Here it is. The move right here is bishop f4. Sheesh. Bruh. Wow, what a move. It's actually a really great move. This is move number 2 on the engine. Bishop f4, number 1 was like d4, which is strange. I'm not really trying to play d4. That was weird. Bishop f4, though, is nice. It provokes him to try to push e5, which makes the d5 square kind of weak. You also could have played bishop b3, a4, and e5, I think, was a move too as well, because it like really messes up the structure, but double pawns, you open up the bishop, is creative. Thanks for the follow, Jackson. So bishop f4, he plays e5, then we go bishop g5, and then knight h5 happens. With f6, h6 intention, and then watch this move here. Who can guess the next move? Let's see if you can get it. White to move. What do you play in this position? Because this is about to get a little wild. It's going to get a very, very strange game between these players here. You may not think that they was 1392 and 1698. White to move. We said g4. Okay, g4 from A1 Chemist. g4 attacking the knight. He says, wait, no, Canty, don't hit me with the garbage, but it's already there. It's already there. So knight e3. Knight takes d2. Knight takes d2. And then he said it again. Elevation. Okay, you're gonna get hit with this garbage because you're too high rated to be doing that twice in a row too. Knight takes d2. Okay, knight f to e5, hitting. He says knight d2. Yep. Yeah. Okay. You want to put the knight here on d2. I'm tripping. Yeah, you definitely are. Absolutely, 1000%. Correct. Knight e3, knight d2, knight f to e5. Okay, so here it is. Actually, he played this move here, which is definitely like creative, right? Think about creativity. You know, creative. Here's the move right here. Knight h4. Wow. Knight h4, big fella. Knight h4. Yeah, that move was different. That move was different. And it's not bad either. Not bad. It's just preparing for like f3, f4. It's a creative move. It's not bad. After knight h4, h6 happens, provokes a weakness. This side's weak, so you may try to castle queen side. Both the knights on the rim, right? Looking crazy. Then he moved his bishop back and then bishop f6 to attack him. Oh, snap. He's hitting your knight. Well, okay, cool. What do you do about it? Your knight's attacked. What do? We going King's Indian style f4? We going back just knight f3? Don't let him capture? Are you sacking? Have you lost your mind? What you doing? When your opponent plays h5, you respond with h4, so it makes sense. Then when they put the knight on h5, you put the knight on h4. Bruh. There you go, Greg. There you go, yeah. Make it a rule. I hope it works. Hope it works for you, because I don't know what's going to happen there. g4, pawn g4, increase the attacks. So elevation trying to play some g4. Looks very symmetrical, said everyone. Yeah, I see the g4. I mean, g4 could be like f4 or knight to e3. Knight e3 is interesting. Look at that, just ignoring it, Bobby Fischer style. Bobby Fischer Spassky style. Or even knight d5 first, actually. And then take. You know, that's interesting, right? Maybe there's queen d8, though, and then this is... But, I mean, this is getting a little wild. It's like... But does he really have an attack? I don't know what's going on there. That's crazy. But 93 could... You know, knight c4, 93, right? That could be great. But here's the move that Brooks chose here, guys. Are you ready for it? Here's the move right here. It's actually number 1 on the engine, right? And I remember he's 1392, right? 1392. This is why you don't always judge people by their rating. Or by, you know, what they, you know, what you might think they are. Because he played knight f5. Knight f5. Bruh. Yeah. It wasn't even in the chat. Nobody saw that move. Knight f5. Nasty. That's a big boy move. Correct. From a big fellow. Correct. Knight f5. And we live. That's a nasty move, bro. F5 is great. Because after pawn takes, we take queen h5. And if bishop takes, then we get rid of your bishop and you open up mine. And my knight is on f5. And I'm hitting d6. Bro, what? Bruh. If I'm 1698 and I'm playing this 1392, I am like, oh, this guy ain't really 1392. Oh, snap. What did I just get into? This is why you don't underestimate people. Don't do it. Okay, so after knight f5, boom, he takes on f5. We take on h5. He takes on e4, right? I take back on e4 with the pawn, says Brooks here with 93, 95. Is he here or he's gonna be watching from YouTube actually? He's gonna be watching from YouTube. Achilles, what's up? Yeah, because he had to go. Okay, so after pawn takes, bishop to e6. Then he puts the knight on e3. Knight goes to e7. Trying to, really cut him off. And then what's the next move here? Increase the pressure. If you could increase the pressure in this position, how would you do it? How do you increase the pressure? He hasn't castled. Black hasn't castled. How do you increase the pressure on this position? f4, f4, b4. Bishop h3 from elevation. f4 from Bravo. Yeah, that's right, guys. That's right. It's f4. That's right. Clap it up. Okay. Okay. You're not garbage. Yeah. Yeah, y'all thought y'all was garbage. Scared him. f4. Yep. f4 is it. Great job. It does increase the pressure. In fact, f5 is a nasty threat here. Closing up the game, d5 is always yours. You even have knight g4, f6. Terrible. You can even open the file. I mean, this is just gross for black. If I'm playing black here, let me flip the board. And I'm 1698, right? 1698. My opponent, not even 1400 yet, right? And I get this position on the board with the black pieces. I'm hurt. Garbage. I'm hurt. Bro, what is this? What is this, right? This is terrible. And this is over the board. Over the board. So when you have more time. So f4, he takes, and then plays rook h7. You know your position is 100% premium Cambodian. Garbage. If you play rook h7 in this position, like this is terrible. Wow. Now, of course, here is where the blunder happens. What are we supposed to do? Right to move. Let's see if you can find it and we can capitalize on our mistakes here and learn something from today. What do we do? What are we supposed to do? Let's see if we can find the correct move here. And then we're going to talk about what he did. e5. Okay, e5. f5, something g3. Bishop g3? Maybe bishop h3, I think that's what you mean. f5, knight f5. Rook f3, I mean maybe. King h1, gross. h3, f5. Pawn f5. So guys, f5 is 100% correct. f5 is the move. Shut it down, clown. Shut it down. All right, and when the bishop moves, what's the follow-up? What is the follow-up after bishop d7? What's the follow-up? What's the follow-up? Knight f5. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Knight d5. Maybe. No, I'm just gonna say no. No, you don't want to block that like that. I mean, it's still probably good for white, but like I just don't like this. It's actually knight to g4. Correct. Hitting f6. Right. And if you move the bishop, then we can do all kind of things. Number one is this cool move, bishop g5, still stopping castling. And if you take, obviously, you're just completely losing. Like, come on now. Like, why are we playing this out? So, like, you're not about to take this. But bishop g5 castles is the same. You just lose a piece. Boom. That's a nasty move, right? Bishop g5. Right. You could also maybe even take, right? Or take this first, just because, then take on h6. Or play rook d1. Or even put the pawn on f6 because you want to. Like, you're winning everywhere. Everything's winning after f5 because you're gaining more space. You're also in the opponent's half of the board, which is 1000% good. All right, we got a queen over here. Now let's bring the homies and bring knight g4. Everybody, it's a party. Like, it's game over. Like, every single time. Every single time, right? So it's good to know that. Thanks for the follow, Joy. So, but what happened here is, this is what he did, and this is the blunder, and this is what happened. He played Knight g4. Oh my goodness. He gives away the advantage immediately. Now, here's a thing to understand. When you're on the attack, right? When you're on the attack, you want to trade less. More space, less trades. Okay? More space, less trades. If you have less space, more trades. I have less space. This looking crazy. I'm getting cramped. I don't like how this looks. I need to get rid of stuff. I'm attacking. I have space. I'm crushing him. I need more space, less trades. So bishop e5, yes, I could take it. But is there anything else I can do? Maybe centralize. Bishop g5, this move's great. Maybe even capturing. Queen h4, maybe sit here. And if he castles, you take on e7 once again. Right. You trade when you need to. You know, so knight g4 was a blunder. Because he immediately takes it. And after takes, then he goes rook g7. Oh, now he's like, oh, okay. I might be all right. Rook g7, queen e2, then we're going to fast forward a little bit. Castle queen side happened. He played king h1. Because now he feels the uncomfortable pressure. Right? Now he's on the defense, but we still have this nasty bishop. So after king h1, king b8, he goes queen f3 to line up. And it's actually still not that bad for white. Knight g6. And then he plays bishop h3 because that's a nasty move. Knight h4 is coming with tempo. So in fact, a bishop e1 is actually a move. Sometimes asking, how can I stop the next move? You just find a move like bishop e1. He wants to go here. Okay, bishop e1. This piece is terrible anyway. Good thing to ask is, what is my worst placed piece? So this sees really this bishop. It's gross. So bishop e1, I take it and get rid of my worst placed piece. Try to set up for e5 with the pressure forever. Knight g6, bishop h3 is not the move here because it's on the worst diagonal. In fact, bishop e1 is like, now you're really losing any type of advantage that you had here. Sometimes if it was available, even sacrificing a rook in exchange, right, would be better. And you'll see that it's hard to do that. It really is hard to do that when you haven't trained on that. But sacrificing in exchange for this knight on h4 to be able to keep this bishop diagonal for long-term compensation, a4, a5, a6, you know, that'd be excellent for you. You know what I mean? That would be excellent. Thanks for the bit. 887. Yes. How do you determine classical list? It depends. It's not a shoot, man. It's really not a rule for that yet. You know, but all right. So after bishop h3 is hitting kind of air, right? Like we talked about before. Knight h4, knight comes in. He go queen f2, queen c6, and then after queen c6. You know, we in trouble. This pawn's hanging. So what do you guys do, chat? How do we defend the pawn, right? We need to defend the pawn. We need to defend the pawn, right? So how do we defend it? What do we do? Thanks for the follow, control, entropy. Rook A to E. A rook to E. Bishop G2. Okay. Nice. Yep. Rook E1. Okay, another one. Rook E1. That's right. Guys, you're right. And here is what Brooks did. Brooks actually played Rook G1. And that was a wrap. That's not a move. He knew that as well. After queen takes e4 for the score, everything was over. Thanks for the sub. Shane, 3 months. And after bishop g2, snaps, and then you put pressure on the pin piece here. So he put pressure right there. We doubled up, and then watch this move right here. It's about to hurt. He played h5, and we live. Yikes. It's a wrap. It's over. So he played h3 to try to stop it. Now, of course, the rest is history. I don't know where. This is where his 1698 started to come out. Because during the game, you know, he was doing good. I mean, Brooks was crushing him. And then, like, he just started going crazy with this at this attack. Is what he need. Boom, bishop h4. You see this move? Somebody been hitting a puzzle rush. Bishop h4 is a nasty move. Queen f1, and then he goes bishop g3, which he probably could have played rook g3 too as well. But bishop g3 is a nasty move. Like, man, this guy just starts swinging after that. Bishop g3, bishop c1, and h4. Cemented it in there. Can't move anything. And the game's virtually over here. So we go through the last few moves. F5, rook e8. Bishop h6 and rook g to g8. F6 and rook g6. I'm assuming he resigned here. There was no more game left, but he did lose this game. So with that being said here, of course, it got really bad really quickly. Really bad really quickly. But the thing that we learned from here, this is a crushing position. And to, you know, as soon as he traded, right? As soon as he traded, his attack was a little bit better. Like, look at how many tempi, the multiple tempos, whatever, tempos, tempi, same thing, right? You know, Black was able to dictate the game. Watch this. I made you move the queen, says Black. I made you move the queen again. So now you just wasted 2 moves there in a way, right? Where did he go? Queen E2 in the game or something? And then I castle, so I got a free move. But then you made another move, so these pieces were here for like 3-4 moves, right? And then castles or king H1, king B8, and then queen F3, another queen move, right? Think about that. 1, 2, or E2, 2, 3, and then 4. Out of the last 4 moves, you only moved your queen and the king. And then knight G6, then the bishop move, and then he just got this compensation. Knight here, it was just too much. He started pressuring him, and he blundered. Now, of course, he could have still defended, but it's always like, keep the ball in your court, right? You got more space, less trades, you know, and less space, more trades, right? So that's how I go. So hopefully this helps you, Brooks Chandler, and this was Breinfuel Game of the Day.